Anyways, to the next topic, from somebody getting arrested to two guys getting canceled. I'm gonna talk about Shits and Gigs. Yo, if you guys don't know who Shits and Gigs are, they're a UK podcast. They're pretty popular. If you have a TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you have seen these two guys. They go by James and Fuhad. James is the light skinned one. Fuhad is the black one. If I'm not mistaken, James is biracial, black and white, and Fuhad is Nigerian. Like I said, they're from the UK. They're from London, if I'm not mistaken. But James and Fuhad are really popular podcasters in this content creator space. James and Fuhad really kicked off, were really like skyrocketed into popularity because of their friendship. Is if you watch some of their videos on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, you can see how pure that friendship is. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like that friendship is similar to my friendship with my best friend Trey. It's just something that's pure. It's kind of like the bros, like that's my nigga, that's my guy, that's my right hand man. To speak on James and Fuhad, they were on a U.S. tour for their podcast. They came to Orlando, New York City, Boston, I think Houston, Atlanta, all these places where there's a high population of African American people.
Mhm.
They made a couple of guest podcast appearances while they were here in the States as well. One of their guest podcast appearances, actually two of them got in trouble, but the first one that got them in trouble was something that happened over 2 months ago on the Flagrant podcast. If you guys don't know what the Flagrant podcast is, it's with Oshkosh, right? Oshkosh or Agash?
Okay.
Agash Singh
Andrew Schultz.
and Andrew Schultz. Yes. Those two guys are comedians. If you guys have not watched the Flagrant podcast, the name of the podcast in itself is called the Flagrant Podcast. They say flagrant jokes. That's non-PC. PC is politically corrective. So if you even listen to the Flagrant Podcast and listen to Shits and Gigs, you could kind of see the contrast in style of comedy and how they do their thing. Well, I'm moving my hands back and forth like I'm Donald Trump. But you can kind of see the difference in their comedic styles. And Andrew Schultz on the podcast made a joke about black women. And James and Fuhad, two black men, laughed about it and kind of laughed it off and kind of joined into the joke. A little awkwardly, but they joined into the joke. I do want to preface again, they're getting canceled this week while this episode that you guys listen to is coming out, even though this podcast episode that they're getting canceled for happened two months ago. I just want to preface that for a second. The next podcast they were on, I believe they were on the Poor Minds podcast. I forgot the two young ladies who were on that podcast as well, but they were talking about the beautiful woman in Atlanta. James and Fuhad said, yo, Atlanta is clapped. If you guys don't know what UK slang is, clapped means ugly. Clap means, like they're hit, ugly, fugly. They look like, body like Ashanti, what is it? Body like Ashanti, booty like Beyonce, face like Andre is what they're saying. So they've been heavily criticized for laughing along to these jokes and making these statements for cities that are heavily black and African American. People think because of that, they're anti-black women. They're not protecting black women. Yo, I want to say how ridiculous it is that the internet is piling on them. But I do want to say to them, to James and Fuhad, this is your first time going through adversity when it comes to the internet. And I want to say to you guys are handling it with grace and beauty. The reason why I say that, you guys gave her a sincere apology, which I believe that apology was sincere because I can see that they felt like they did something wrong. I want to say to the internet, if you really are upset about something, whether this is black women, white women, whoever it is, if you really are upset about something, why don't you just react in a moment? Why did you wait 2 months after these episodes came out that now want to pile onto these guys and make it seem like they offended you beyond belief? If you were so offended, why weren't you offended 2 months ago? Are you only offended now because other people on the internet saying that they're offended? So you want to join in on the crowd and pile onto them? I'm not apologizing or defending these guys. I'm just more so saying, I think the timing is kind of weird. Don't you think, Phil?
A little bit.
It's a little weird, right? Like months later, now you want to be offended? That's kind of weird to me, bro.
Yeah.
But I do want to say how much I do enjoy those two guys' content, man. Because
I like them.
Their content is really good, bro, and it's really genuine and pure. And they do a lot of great things when they do come over to the States. They do a lot of great podcasts. A lot of people who do this podcasting thing and this content created thing space in the United States, when these guys come over, people are like, there's a long line of trying to get them on to your show. Because these guys are honestly, they just exude and pour like energy and happiness and just purity when they record or when they make their content. Now, before I pass on to this next topic, I do want to say to the black women out there who are truly offended by what happened and what these jokes have been. I'm not going to repeat the joke. That's why I haven't repeated the jokes. Yo, to the black women out there, and this is kind of another segue from the last topic I was talking about with Diddy. To the black women out there, man, I want you to understand that you're strong, you're beautiful, you're courageous, you're the most amazing thing that we have on this earth, and the most disrespected thing that we have on this earth. I'm not gonna say have on this earth. You guys have saved us, and I want to mean us. I'm not just saying black men. I'm saying society in general. You guys have saved us from so many evil things in the world. You guys have tried to warn us about so many evil things in the world. I want you to understand this shit right here with this podcasting thing. Don't let this take you off your path. Black women, you guys are amazing. You guys are beautiful. You guys are humble, bodacious. Uh, you know, I'm gonna say I love me a good black woman. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, black women, don't feel like this is the end all be all because they may have offended you on a podcast. Listen, stand up and keep it pushing. If you don't want to listen to them no more, just unsubscribe. Don't give them your tweets. Don't give them the energy of you typing your fingers. Stand up and just ignore them. Just ignore them. F it. Who cares? Fuck them. Anyways,